Welcome to the Pump and Dump channel for another weekly update, this time talking again about the usual suspects: natural gas, oil, Range Resources and CNX Resources. So we can see here in natural gas, I had talked about this trend line last week. I thought back then we would just bounce off it and go back down, but as you can see we burst above, we stayed above for a couple of days, and we're seeing these moving averages now cross over. And if you look back throughout this downtrend, when they crossed over, it went into decline, and before, when it crossed over here, it went into an ascent. So this looks like a positive signal. Also, the fact that we have finally broken through this trend line looks like a positive signal, and maybe this is the trajectory we're going to take up to somewhere here at 210 in the short term. We'll see. But yeah, it's looking good again, I would say. This looks like it's moving up. Then CNX Resources, I talked about it last week. It was trading at that time at a 5% discount to the net present value I have. Right now it's trading at about a 3% premium to the net present value I have. So the market here kind of is also signaling bullishness. The idea that this might be in the short term a bottom for us to move higher. Then getting to oil, I had talked about this channel here last week, and I was talking about how I thought maybe if we can stay above here we could go higher, and I talked about the potential target being this 55 level. You can see here it was support last year in December, and we could move up against that and bounce off of it. That's a possibility, but as you can see we kind of got to like 54.50, I would say. And here we can also see that there is this crossover of the moving averages down here. Maybe it's not very clear, but it's there. And yeah, we started moving higher, and right here we can see that we're getting close to this Bollinger Band, and some people like to sell at the high of a Bollinger Band and buy at the low. But this being a resistance does not necessarily mean that we have to go down to this level here, this red line. Of course, I would think that bullish traders would try and buy at this level at 52. We got as low as 52.50 or so during the day, and we're back up to 53.35. And it could go up, and it could go back to 55. It could go higher. It could bounce off, go lower. Who really knows? But in terms of the improvement in the price, it's not reflected in Range Resources. Range Resources last week I talked about, it was trading at a 10% discount to the net present value, when it was closed at like $3.10 or $3.08, I'm not sure. But you can see right now it's at 314.5. It's been yesterday at 341. That kind of happened on this big move up in oil on Wednesday and then on Thursday. So the start price moved up, but overall, even though the price is a few cents higher than last week, it's become more cheap, because now it's trading at something like a 17% discount to the net present value. And you could of course argue that the oil price is likely to come down, and therefore the net present value would come down too. But overall, I think what the stock is reflecting is that the market is not convinced about this trend reversing here. The market seems to think that this is just like a dead cat pounce on the way back down. That's at least what's priced in the stock. Another possibility is looking at some of the news releases, I think, for this. Looking at some of what the analysts say, the expectations somehow seem to have deteriorated for Q4. Q4 ends at the end of December, so they've had two and a half months to come up with these estimates deteriorating. Okay, so I mean, if they didn't know it in January, why would they know any better now in February? So that kind of indicates to me that going into the earnings release, that this is going to remain, kind of being lowballed, and hopefully when the earnings come out, then if the company doesn't do anything out of the blue that's completely unexpected, then I would think that this stock price would start moving up substantially. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So that's at least what the news releases I mentioned last week and previously would lead me to believe. So yeah, that's kind of going to do it for this week. Remember, it's not investment advice or recommendations for you to buy or not to buy. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, leave questions, comments and opinions in the comment section, and have a good day.